Adventures in Mischief and Malarky, Chapter 2. Back in my cozy comfort shoebox of an apartment, my brain helps me by thinking of everything and nothing all at once, causing it to freeze. I have 2 days, just 2, to put all of my affairs in order. My brain kicks back on, enabling me to return to the paperwork I have in my hand. If the quest takes less than a year, they have to return you to your position or give you a position that offers equal pay within a certain number of miles from your home location. After the year, then they can post the job. No pressure. When questing, the Providity Conventus in which the destined resides will pay out 70% of their usual paycheck and pay 30% of your residency if you have one. For 1 year of questing, afterwards the residency will be sold or become available to be re-rented. In case of death, your next of kin will take the ownership of any property or land, and a 30% portion of all items of the deceased destined will be paid to the Providity Conventus in which the destined resides for tax purposes. No additional taxes will be collected for 1 year of active destined duty. If the destined flees or is unable to complete the mission for any reason, including acts of gods, goddesses, or any other deities, then the destined or destined family must repay the Providity Conventus in which the destined resides in full. No loan forgiveness will be available. I feel very taken care of. My brain begins to slow down again as I flip to the end of the booklet and see there's no place for a signature. This is just letting me know what will happen. My guts begin to ache, and I can't tell if it's my period or stress. The bowl of ice cream with gummy bears and crushed cookies definitely didn't help. As I'm running to the bathroom, I'm about to explode. My luck just gets better with my doorbell ringing. Can't talk! Gotta poo! I yell at whoever's on the other side of the door. Modesty. It's my top virtue. A familiar voice floats through the closed door before I can shut my bathroom door. All right, love. I know you can do it. I believe in you. My best friend Jessica says, shortly before just opening the door into my apartment. Also, I just let myself in. I knocked first, so that should count for something. I've known Jessica since I was 12 years old. I was new to the school, and this boy decided he was going to bully me. He blocked my way to the swings during lunch, claiming I wasn't allowed to go until I gave him $1 or a kiss. Long story short, I misheard him. At least that's what I told the teach me, and kicked him hard in the family package. Luckily, there weren't legally allowed to use truth spells on children. They aren't reliable on children anyway. He dropped into the fetal position and cried. Jessica saw the whole thing since she was coming to protect the small new girl. She laughed and decided we should be friends. I agreed with her, and we've been friends ever since. It does. I'm proud of you. Also, give me a minute of silence, please. I respond, already knowing I'm asking too much of her. I can do that. She replies, followed by cupboards banging open loudly and the absent sound of them being shut. You don't have anything to eat. I'm going to order us food. What do you want? My treat. My silence apparently gives her permission to continue. I'm thinking something elven or dwarf barbecue. Do you care which one? Because I can just choose. Remain silent if you want me to choose. Okay, you're silent, which means you want me to choose, right? Did you fall in? Do you need me to call for someone? I love her, but I'm going to have to kill her, I think to myself. I blurt out, barbecue! Because it was the last thing I heard. She makes a harumph noise that was either really loud or my walls are just that thin. I mean the other one! I yell before having to stop talking and focus at the task at hand. Oh, great. I was thinking Elven as well. Okay, I'm going to order. I'm going to get some bread with our meal. I know it fills us up in like 2 to 3 bites, but it's so good. Her happy voice responds. With her ordering the food, I'm able to finish my business. I wash my hands and open the door to a 6.5-foot tall violet Pirimo standing in my kitchen, dining room, almost living room area. She is a solid, statuesque female who guys would pay top dollar to have sit on their face to die a happy death. Fun fact, in college, she did take money to sit on someone's face and unintentionally almost killed them. But that's a different story. As she turns around, I can see her eyes, almost all black with a rim of golden brown. Her twisted horns are painted with a beautiful silver paint that seemed to dance when it caught the fluorescent light. She smiles, showing me her sharper-than-human canines, and yells, "Ta-da!" making a grand gesture to her outfit. What? I say before I take in the entirety of Jessica. She's wearing a little blue dress, which clings to her breast but flares at the bottom so she can twirl it. To be fair, she uses her tail to accentuate the twirliness. She paired the dress with little blue flats. In the past, she would have worn heels that bent her feet into unrealistic shapes and angles, but made her ass look amazing, since she's no longer on the hunt for a mate. She married an elf. She's decided comfortability and walkability are more enticing, especially when chasing after her daughter. She's wearing a charm necklace that holds several runes she's charging up. Not an uncommon sight to see on a mage's ear. With runes touching her skin, the still magic that she naturally releases through her skin can be collected in the runes. Every rune is different in how much it needs. She has explained how magic works to me several times, but I failed out of basic theory in magic class and never took another one. The only thing I can remember is that they can see how much potential you have in your blood. The cells that carry the circummelee energy throughout our system are called Seelies, and apparently I don't have any or enough to be measured. We did the check your Seelie experiment in science class in middle school and in high school. I'm being punny, she says with a grin. You love puns. I bought this especially for you. Since I might not see you for a while, I thought I would live rent-free in your mind in this sexy little number. Do you get it? I fake that I totally know what's going on, but have no idea as a smile crosses my face and I shake my head yes. Janessica frowns. Oh, honey, you are the worst liar. Even if I wasn't a pitimo, I could tell you were lying. Okay, I'm wearing a blue dress and... she says as she points to her horns and then mimes horns on her head with her hands. Oh, I get it. Devil in a blue dress. That's good. I say, not having the heart to tell her it's not a pun, but a reference. Omitting isn't lying, at least to a pitimo. Sorry, my brain is running on empty today. This paperwork. I gesture to the paper strewn about the table. It is a bit much, and I only have 2 days to figure this out and see everybody. Not to mention that I have a 45% chance of dying according to Worldopedia. I did the math, and the last 100 destined, and it checks out. I don't want to die to make the world a better place. If I die, I feel like the world should be worse off. I say the last bit as I plop down on the seat next to the kitchen table. My world would be worse. I'll have to find a new best friend, and I'll have to tell Emma Bolinia that her godmother died by being a heroic sacrifice. Bleh, she says, making a disgruntled face. Instead of growing old and being 2 blue-haired baddies getting killed riding dragons, like we planned. That's the dream. It would be majestic for that one fleeting moment before falling to our deaths. Also, your life without me does sound awful, because I'm an awesome friend. You always know how to make me feel better. I say, attempting a laugh and a full smile, but a genuine fear of what is to come keeps me from being successful. She notices my stress and leans in. You are not allowed to die. They haven't perfected backup souls, and I don't want a generic Ren copy golem who's lame and can't even go underwater. She puts her arms around me and squeezes firmly but gently, letting me know she is worried for me as well. I reach up, touch her arm, and rest my head on her shoulder. Thank you, I whisper to her. Our tender moment is ruined by the doorbell's chime. Usually it's one of us who ruins the moment. Food! We both say aloud. I move the 2 steps to the door and open it without looking through the peephole. How am I supposed to survive a destined mission with this as my basic survivability function? Standing before us is a dwarf who is wearing a lovely elven green dress, obviously a work uniform. Their red hair is braided intricately, keeping most of their hair off of their face, except for a few rogue curly pieces. The braiding must take hours, I think to myself. Hi, I got an order from High Elven Cafe, they say. That's us. It should be already paid in full, so here is your tip, Janessica says as she hands the dwarf some extra money. Yeah, it's already paid for. The dwarf responds, counting the money before adding, Thank you. Also, are you aware of the alarming amount of goats and frogs around your complex? Is that normal here? Oh yeah, it's to keep the lawn short. Have a lovely day! Bye! I say before closing the door. Janessica gives me a quizzical look before heading to the back window facing away from the front door and notices the suspicious amount of goats and frogs. Before she can ask, I answer the question. I was going to tell you, the Destin is supposed to be left in peace while they get their affairs in order and say goodbye to their loved ones. To ensure the media will leave them alone, I have to wear this. I pull out a ruby hanging off of a long chain from my neck. It's enchanted. Fancy way of saying imbued with living magic. Creating an aura about 100 feet around me. It turns any entity into a goat or frog for 48 hours if they are trying to come up to me to get an interview. And the people who try to take pictures of me without my verbal consent get blurry me. The Watchers are also giving out citations to them, too. Apparently this happens a lot with the Destined. Jessica laughs until a black cloud appears next to a goat and a Watcher steps out wearing their dark blue uniform, hat, and their black cloak of travel. The Watcher takes out his DNA tracer, tapping it onto the goat and clicking a couple of buttons. Happy with the results, a black cloud begins to form behind the Watcher, who simply steps into it and disappears again. I know I'm not a teenager anymore, but these still give me the heebie-jeebies. Jessica says as she lets the curtain fall back into place. As we eat, we talk about how tomorrow I'm going to be with my mom and dad all day. I tell her how I spoke to my sister. I found out later Mom made her call me. How she told me that I'd survived this ordeal since I didn't die when she tried to kill me when we were children. In that fun older sibling way, I guess. We speak about Emma Bellinia's last horn coming in and how she's been fussy due to the pain. Jessica is going through liters of numbing cream that she infuses with living magic residuals to soothe her. By the time I return, her other horn should be in, and she promises to send me pictures. Jessica is so happy that she got both horns, since that doesn't always happen when a Pidimo marries outside their species. Even though Emma Bellinia's will be smaller, she will have beautiful purple horns like her mother. We keep talking, hoping time would slow down, yet it only seems to go faster, and soon she has to leave. We hug, and she kisses me on the cheeks. Before leaving, she makes me promise I will come back, even if that meant in pieces. Not knowing would be worse than having devastating news. I promise. We both know I can't keep that promise, but she accepts it. I tell her that I love her and I'll miss her. She tells me the same before we part ways. The next day is another blur. The only part I remember is my mother telling me that if I die, she will go into the darkest websites and hire a necromancer to bring me back to life just so she can kill me again. I don't doubt her promise threat. The last night of my freedom, I stare at my ceiling, lying awake, knowing that tomorrow it will all change. I have training for an undisclosed amount of time, and then I'll know what I'm destined to do. I just hope my destined path allows me to walk away from this adventure of danger and doom.